Next up, we have Linda Lappe, who's the executive director for Sportswomen of Colorado. It's a very special time of the year for the folks from Sportswomen of Colorado. They have just recently announced their next group of honorees for the upcoming award celebration, which will be on March 12th. It's the 49th award celebration for Sportswomen of Colorado. Linda, in how many ways is that exciting for you? Because let's qualify this. This is the first year for Linda Lappe in this position for an organization like this that's been around for 5 decades.
Well, what an exciting organization that started, I think, a year after Title IX came into existence by a group of women that were well ahead of their time in terms of what they were trying to accomplish. And now we look at it as something that just happens with, females being able to compete at a national stage and get the recognition that they deserve. But it wasn't always like that. And so you had women like Joan Bierklin, Dorothy Mock, and a group of women that said, hey, female athletes aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. Colorado has so many great female athletes in the state, and we need to create something that can really highlight those accomplishments in all that they're doing. And that was 49 years ago. And so I'm excited to be able to just continue their legacy. They both have passed on, and now it's up to people like me that can help continue that and make sure all the young girls and women are getting honored for everything that they can accomplish. And also not just the women, all the coaches that have had a massive impact on being able to mentor women athletes, and as well as the organizations. We get to honor one of the organizations, the Bobby Messis in the Broncos community development team this year, and what they were able to do with starting flag football in the Denver metro region. So we're excited. I'm excited to continue to promote women and all those people who help women have a chance to succeed.
Yeah, I was very careful even on Twitter where you talk about it's athletes, leaders, trailblazers, and contributors in all levels, all genders, those who have helped supported, female athletics, right? Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
Perfect. Yep. Linda Lappe, who's the executive director, first year for Sportswomen of Colorado. So when we look at who won, how do we describe this group for what is the 2022 accomplishments? Are there any athletes or stories that, kind of captured your attention or you got more intimately connected to as we've gone through this process?
Well, I have to say I got to see all the nominations. I am on the nomination committee, and obviously they're all funneling into my emails. We had over 125 nominations. And so we had a lot to sift through, and I so much more than I ever thought I would. I enjoyed seeing everybody's story. There was one nomination that was probably 8 pages of a life history, but it was so riveting and so fun to see everything that this lady had accomplished in her career, and what I said is how she was relevant way back then, and she's still relevant now, and that she's coaching young girls in high school, actually golf, and Wolta Blackstone is her name. And, she's done so much in her career. And I just hope that, when I look at myself over the course of my long career, I can have even close to the impact that she's had, not only on the sport of golf, but more so on the people that she's taught. And she's not only has had an impact on women and girls, but she also teaches men, at all different levels. She teaches people with disabilities, so just that impact, reading her story was unbelievable, but everybody's story was unbelievable, whether they were in high school, whether they were a coach, whether it was an organization, whether it was somebody who started a business to help, promote lifelong sport for women. I think you saw all of that. I look at Claire Gallagher as well. She won the Leadville 100, top female to win the Leadville 100. Even, driving 100 miles is hard for a lot of people, but to run 100 miles, in how fast she ran 100 miles. I think she finished 12th overall, so beating a lot of the men in the race as well. So she was one, and she was somebody that simply somebody sent to me. There was a Boulder Daily Camera article about her that people may not have known about her, but we're happy to highlight her. Yasmin Hernandez, CSU Pueblo, track and field. What an amazing person, how much she does for her community, what she does for her team, kind of what I call the triple threat sort of person, in that she's a really good athlete who has accomplished a lot. But she also is a great leader. She helps out in the community. She is a fantastic student. I think I don't know, right around a 4.0 maybe. So unbelievable. And then Lauren Betts, it's hard not to recognize Lauren Betts, who is the number one women's basketball recruit in the country. So she was, the best player coming out of high school in any part of the United States, which was pretty awesome. And now playing for Stanford and representing Colorado through the NCAA women's basketball and playing for Stanford. So those are, obviously, I could probably name every single one of them as somebody that has an outstanding story. It's why they've been selected. But those are, if you asked me tomorrow, I would probably pick another 5.
There's so many, right? Now the event's going to be on March 12th. You've been there, and now you're going to be the executive director. How would you, from your perspective, describe what that event is? I have my own personal feelings, but I want your perspective of what that is. If I'm someone who's won an award, or if I'm someone who attends, what is that experience?
Well, I always say it's the wow factor. You go to the event, you leave the event, and it's you walk away saying, wow, oh my gosh, I never knew there was this amount of talent in the state of Colorado. And it's just so inspirational.